Only guy that only guy I know that brain damage is Tua.
Oh yeah, it's from this week. Bro,
Huh.
he got nailed, and then he was already on the ground, knocked out, and some fucking lineman dove for the ball because he dropped it, and he hit helmet first on the dude's chin when his helmet was off and he was asleep. It's bad.
What game was it?
The Saints Eagles.
I watched the highlights of it. I guess they didn't want to put that in there.
I've been seeing that everywhere. It's bad. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Slapsticks, presented by Forever Talking, Forever Unlikely, Forever whatever the fucking name of the company is. Last week, if you made it through that shit, we did the Western Conference predictions for the NHL season. This week we're doing the East, which more people care about the East, kind of like the NBA. So hopefully we get more views on this. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it twice. That would double our view count from last week.
Hey, we actually got some last time.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Let me pull up the old standings from last year, just like I did.
Yeah, I got this. I don't even know if I can name them. It's not vision, it's memory,
That's the problem.
In the background, I got some dude blowing mowing, even though it just rains.
All right, we will start in the Metro Division. We will. I know last week we started with the bottom, then we kind of changed it to going by team. So, we're just gonna roll with it. We're gonna let it fly here. Don't know if this episode will be as long as the last one. I'm supposed to go golfing at 3. So, starting in the Metro in the 8th spot, I have placed the Columbus Blue Jackets. Obviously, the team, not much was expected of them anyways, but now dealing with the tragedy they've had to deal with, I'm sure that's going to be in the back of their minds all season. That aside, they didn't add much. They didn't lose much. I think they're just kind of in limbo between a rebuild and competing. And that's going to be a tough division in the Metro this year. So for that reason, I have the Blue Jackets in 8th. Moving up to the 7th spot, I have placed the Pittsburgh Penguins. Hopes are going to be high this year. They've added a few minor pieces. Sidney Crosby signed the contract that solidifies he will be a Penguin for life. And while I don't think he would have stuck around had he not believed it was possible to win again on this Penguins team, I just don't think they're where they need to be. I don't think Kyle Dubas is doing a great job as their GM, interim GM, whatever he's considered right now. They have a decent roster, but they're just missing some key pieces. I think if they can get good goaltending from Tristan Jarry this year, that would go a long way. But I'm not a huge fan of their chances, and that's why I placed them at 7th. In the 6th spot, I have the Philadelphia Flyers. Flyers were a little bit deceiving last year. They finished a lot higher than they were probably supposed to. I think we could see something similar to that this year. I would just imagine the fall off towards the end of the season is going to be a lot harder than it was this year. I think they're a good team. They've got some good young talent. They got Matvei Michkov coming up, Bobby Brinks coming to form. They've solidified their goaltending after the cancellation of Carter Hart. And yeah, I think they'll be fun to watch, but I have them in 6th.
You say cancellation?
Yeah, he was part of so there's a bunch of players from Team Canada, the 2017 Team Canada junior team that like this girl, and he's one of them. So I have the Flyers in 6th. Moving up to 5th, I have the Washington Capitals. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna try to guess it, but no, I already got it wrong.
Okay, you can guess the next one.
Yeah, all right.
So 5th place, I have the Washington Capitals. For me, they're kind of a middling team, hence why they're in 5th. I do have them above the Flyers and the Penguins. I just think they've made some good additions, solid goaltending addition in Logan Thompson from the Vegas Golden Knights. Jacob Chikrin coming in from the Ottawa Senators is going to be huge. I'm not a fan of the trade for Pierre-Luc Dubois. I think he's a little bit of a cancer in the locker room. He's proved that everywhere he's gone so far, and I think he'll prove it again in Washington. But who knows? Maybe the chance to play with Ovechkin.
You got Ovechkin there. We'll put him straight.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope personally as a player, I would think the chance to play with one of the greatest goal scorers of all time would kind of set you straight. But yeah, we'll see how they do. They should be a fun team to watch this year. I don't have them doing as well as perhaps they did last year. Speaking of which, I should draw my playoff lines. I do have 4 teams from both divisions in the East making it, unlike the West where I had 3 from the Pacific, 5 from the Central. So yeah, those are the teams I have missing the playoffs in the Metro Division. Moving up to 4th, the first team to make the playoffs, I have the Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh damn!
Guessing wrong again, Nick Walk?
I would have said that. You know, I'm gonna keep letting you go, but I like the Hurricanes. They got Sebastian Aho, right?
Yep, I like them too. They lost quite a bit this offseason. Obviously, Gensel's gone. He signs in Tampa Bay. He was only there from the pretty much for the playoff run after the trade deadline. But he was a big piece of that power play and their kind of middle six. I think that's going to hurt. They lose one of their top 4 D-men in Brady Shea, who signs with the Nashville Predators. So while I do think they, in turn, got worse this offseason, I still think they're ahead of the bottom 4 in that division. So for that reason, I have placed them 4th. Big fan of Rod Brind'Amour. I think their goalie, Freddie Anderson, he has the talent to lead the way. And with the retirement of Andy Ranta, I think Pyotr Kochetkov could prove to be a solid backup, if not a 1A, 1B with Freddie Anderson this year. So Hurricanes in 4th. Moving up to 3rd, I have placed the New York Islanders. Another team. Right. There you go. Another team that has been, as far as free agency goes and adding this summer, somewhat stagnant. They pick up Pierre. They pick up Anthony Duclair in free agency. I think that's a fun addition. Obviously, it's like his 9th team he's played for or whatever. But nonetheless, a solid middle 6 guy. I think he can fill out their depth chart nicely. And should be a fun season for them. I think a full year of Patrick Waugh behind the bench should really go well. Status of Ilya Sorokin, starting goaltender, is somewhat up in the air. So we'll kind of see over the next 2 weeks or so as the season gets going.
What's wrong with him?
I think he tore his groin or something. He missed a lot of the end of last season. And the Islanders are famously pretty quiet on the news front because of who their GM is, and Lou Lamoriello. He's very old school. He doesn't let the media know anything. So we're pretty positive that Sorokin had surgery in the offseason, but we don't know when or what for. But he should play soon. He has yet to be a full participant in training camp, though, as we get into the second week of that. And yeah, we'll see. I think the Islanders could be another fun team to watch as the roster kind of gels together. And like I said, I think a full year of Patrick Waugh behind the bench could go a long way for that Islanders team. So that is why I've placed them in 3rd. In 2nd, with the biggest jump in all of the predictions, I have placed the New Jersey Devils. Devils last year dealt with a ton of injuries after making it to the Eastern Conference Final the year before. They finished 7th in the Metro with a record of 38, 39, and 5. Jack Hughes missed a good chunk of the year. They had huge struggles with their goaltending. They've solidified that issue in adding Allen and Markstrom. I think a healthy Devils squad could go a long way. And I think they could be a real threat once they get to the playoffs, if my prediction's correct. Again, like I said, Jack Hughes fully healthy. Luke Hughes is going to miss the first month of the season. I believe he injured his shoulder in training camp, they said. But they've got a lot of depth defensively. They signed Brendan Dillon. I think they'll be a fun team to watch. They add some grit in the offseason with Brett Pesce. Yeah, I like the Devils in 2nd, and should they finish there, I like them to go a long way in the playoffs, to be honest with you. And then 1st, I have placed the New York Rangers. Hard not to put them first after they won the President's Trophy last year.
I got them 1-2.
Yes, sir.
That was the easiest one.
Yeah, very easy. Finished last year with a record of 55, 23, and 4, 114 points and a President's Trophy, which is a very good season. I think a lot of the talk with the Rangers right now is about the contract status of Igor Shesterkin. He's eligible to sign an extension
That guy's insane.
now. Yep, and he will, I promise, end up being the highest paid goaltender in NHL history. We just don't know what it's going to look like yet. I would think upwards of $12 million a year, which is like a probably seventh or eighth guy on the Charlotte Hornets probably makes that much. But, hockey will get there. The salary cap's going up. But, yeah, so a lot of talk around Shesterkin, a lot of talk around their captain, Jacob Trouba, who we know they tried to trade this offseason. He turned down a trade to Detroit, which we'll get into that as we go to the Atlantic. I think that would have been a bad move for the Red Wings, personally. But, yeah, I like the Rangers' chances to do more of what they did again last year.
I was shocked by you putting the Devils. That's where I messed up. Everything else was basically,
Yeah, Devils. I know it's very rare to jump a team up that high in a prediction, but they lost in the conference finals 2 years ago. I think if they were healthy last year, they would have been right up there with the Rangers. They were missing a lot of guys. So if they can stay healthy this year, and that's a big if, I like them finishing second. I think I think it'll be good. So yeah. Just quick recap. The four teams I have making the playoffs are the Rangers, Devils, Islanders, and Hurricanes. Obviously, the Capitals, Flyers, Penguins, and Blue Jackets would find themselves golfing early in the summer.
Is that who made it last year? Besides, the Capitals made it, right?
Capitals made it instead of the Devils, yes.
So it was 4-4 last year?
Yep.
Again?
Yep.
All right.
Okay, moving over to the Atlantic Division, which I will say is probably the hardest division to predict.
Not for me.
I think I know why, but we'll go through it. I'll start at number 8. I have the Montreal Canadiens. I think they got a lot better this year. I think every team in the Atlantic, except for maybe the Lightning and the Maple Leafs, got a lot better this year. I think the Canadiens are young, a lot of young talent, similar to how we talked about the Anaheim Ducks in the last episode. They should be very fun to watch, and I think they're going to be a threat for many years to come. They're just not quite there yet. So for that reason, I've put them in 8th. An exciting season for them, though. I think I know I've said it a lot here this episode, but they should be a very fun team to watch. They had Patrick Laine. That's really it, but it should be a lot of fun. So
let me guess. Let me guess 7.
Yep.
Senators.
No.
All right, and I have no idea after that. Then
in 7th, I have put the Buffalo Sabres. I would love. I'm sure like 99% of hockey fans would. I would love to see the Sabres make the playoffs. They have not done it since, 2012, I think. So going on 13 years of no playoffs for Buffalo.
Have they won the Stanley Cup ever?
They have not.
And Buffalo, they struggle.
And this is year, I think, 55 for their franchise. So, yeah, no Stanley Cup. But I would love to see them make it. And I don't think they're a bad team. I know putting them in 7th kind of goes against that. I just think, like I said, the Atlantic, hard to predict.
It kind of is.
Yeah, almost everyone in that division is very good. And while I do think the Sabres got better, I still don't think they're better than the 6 teams I put ahead of them. So, Sabres in 7th, unfortunately. Moving up to 6th place, a bit of a surprise. I have put the Boston Bruins, which would drop them 4 spots from where they finished.
You're out of your mind, John.
I might be. That's why it's a prediction.
Boston City, I don't care how bad they are, they somehow, even if they are 4,
It's true.
they somehow always make the playoffs.
It's true. And honestly, while I predict them to not be in the playoffs, they probably will be. A lot of it comes down to the goaltender situation that they are currently in. They trade Linus Ullmark, their 1A, or I guess 1B, to the Ottawa Senators this offseason. Actually, they did it during the playoffs last year, which is very rare. And they chose to keep 1A, Jeremy Swayman, who is sitting in a contract dispute right now. He is unsigned. He's not at training camp. The Bruins team as a whole, very well constructed. But if they go into the season with Korpisalo as their starting goaltender, I think they could have a really bad October. And you hear a lot of analysts and commentators say you can't make the playoffs in October, but you can miss the playoffs in October. So if they come out flat like I think they might under Korpisalo, I just see them below that playoff line. So Bruins in 6th. Moving up, I have the Ottawa Senators as the last team in the Atlantic missing the playoffs. Again, I think they got a lot better. They add former Blue David Perron, who has now bounced around to, I believe that's his 8th NHL team. Should give them some depth, though. I like what they've done. They add Linus Ullmark, like I mentioned. They add Nick Jensen on the blue line. Obviously, losing Jacob Chikrin's going to hurt, but I think for the long term, just the grit and determination this Senators team should have this year bodes well for them. 5th place would be 2 spots higher than they finished last year. Last year, they were in 7th. I think the injury status of a lot of guys is also going to be a big question mark for the Senators. They dealt with some injuries last year. Shane Pinto getting in trouble for gambling didn't help them. I think he gets suspended 30-something games for that. So he's back now, full participant. And yeah, I think they got better, just not better than the 4 teams I have ahead of them. So Senators in 5th. And now we get to the playoff teams, Nick Walk. Who do you have in 4th place?
Well, I didn't actually do it because we kind of just jumped it. But so I'm seeing the teams we got remaining.
Yep.
You probably have the Lightning at 4.
I do have the Lightning at 4. Very good team. Hard to go against Andrei Vasilevsky. For that reason alone, I have them still above the playoff line. Signing Jake Gensel, as I mentioned earlier, is a good get for them. I like that they made Victor Hedman the captain. I think he's very well deserving of that. Speaking of captains, though, losing Steven Stamkos, it's going to hit them hard.
Where do you go again?
Nashville.
I think Nashville's pretty good.
Yeah, they should be. But, yeah, I think Tampa's definitely still above the playoff line in my book, but they're not, in my eyes at least, they're not the powerhouse team that they've been in previous years. Should be cool to see Gensel on that Lightning power play. Obviously, John Cooper, he'll do a great job. He's the longest tenured coach currently in the NHL, so should be a good season for Tampa, but they've got some things to overcome, some obstacles they got to hurdle before I could see them doing any real damage in the playoffs. 3rd place, jumping up, I have the Toronto Maple Leafs. Personally, I think the Maple Leafs got worse this offseason. But just with that kind of firepower they have in their top 6 with Matthews, Nylander, Tavares, Marner, I think they'll be very entertaining as they usually are. If they can shut out a lot of the negatives that the media puts forth, I think they could go far. I've been rooting for them to do well for a few years now, and they just cannot get out of that first round. We always see it.
Can't pass Boston, right?
Nope, can't pass Boston, can't pass Florida, barely pass Tampa, apparently. Yeah, I think they should have a good year. Again, should be super entertaining to watch, but in my eyes, they got worse, and we'll see. Maybe they can pull it together when they get to the playoffs. maybe their season falls apart and they trade Mitch Marner at the deadline. Who knows? But yeah, Red Wings in third. And our second biggest mover on the board at 2, I have the Detroit Red Wings, who have not made the playoffs since 2017, I believe it was, when they lost to Tampa in the first round. But the Red Wings have been adding for years now. Their young talent that has been so fun to watch is finally starting to come to fruition and become a key part of the core of that Wings team. And they add Tarasenko, Patrick Kane signs to come back. They extend.
Started with that. I would have been sold.
Raymond. Yeah, they. I do think their goaltending kind of stayed where it was, if not got a little bit worse. But I love this team as a whole. I don't know how much damage they'll do should they finish where I put them, but I think Wings fans would be happy with a playoff appearance after 7 years, almost 8. And yeah, we'll see what they can do. But
so they got Tarasenko and Kane.
They do. A couple of washed up superstars, but hey.
Kind of funny. I always love when the NBA does that. It happens more often than there, but
Yep. Couple former rivals too. Blue and Hawk on the same team. Second time they were in New York together for that short time too. And then rounding out the Atlantic.
Number 1.
Yeah, we don't need to, because rounding out the Atlantic, the only option, defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. They lose some key pieces, but super tough to rank them any lower than first. Yeah, should be an exciting year for them as they go through defending their championship, and we'll see what they can do. I don't know about a repeat. That would be 3 straight years in the finals, which is exhausting from a player's standpoint. But yeah, I think they'll be a tough team to compete with, and that's why I have them in first. Not much else to say about them.
I was about to ask, is there like a hangover for teams that win?
Oh yeah. Yeah, not really in recent years, because we've had a few teams go back to back now, with Pittsburgh and Tampa doing it in the last decade. But yeah, it's tough. There's some teams that come out flat, real flat.
Like the NBA, they've had some big ones. Like I don't think the defending champs have made it past the semi-finals of the conference. They haven't made the conference final.
Yeah, I know. In all fairness, the Blues were very good that next season after we won the Cup. Washington, I remember, came out. I think they won 2 of their first 12 games, and they ended up making the playoffs, so it was fine. But yeah, you could tell they partied a little too hard that summer.
That's the way to go, though.
It is for sure. Preseason's going now, but I'm not going to talk about that. That's boring as fuck. No one cares about preseason.
Oh, come on, man. Preseason's awesome. We went to a preseason game.
Yeah, we did. Can't believe I paid for parking for that shit.
Did we pay for parking?
I think we did. What could we talk? Oh, the Utah Hockey Club. Their first goal in recorded franchise history was an own goal against the St. Louis Blues. That's all I'll say. Next week might be a chill week, just shooting the shit, getting ready for the season. But, yep, predictions done. Ian, be looking for the picture of a human turd in your Dropbox. Again, it's not mine. I'm going to find one, though.
I'll do mine.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Actually, I'll do a cat.
Yeah, take a shit in the litter box and send it to me.
Or you could do it. Yeah, that'd be...
Yeah, sorry I left you hanging without the picture of the turd last week, Ian, but you're going to get it this week. So, that's all from us this week, folks. Thank you for tuning in to Slapsticks. Take your screenshots now. This is the last time I'll ever wear this fucking ref uniform, like I mentioned in the last video. So, Blues jerseys from here. So, yeah. We'll see you later.